Thank you, sisters and brothers. It really feels like we're getting it that we cannot discuss what the anti-war movement should be doing in a vacuum, because we're in a huge global capitalist economic crisis. And if we discuss our work as though it's separate from that, we will appear irrelevant and be judged so, rightly so. We'll be asking people to go to demonstrations against the war, and they say, I can't get there because I've just lost my home. And the day before, I lost my job. And I understand I'm losing my pensions. And you all know it's going to get worse. It's already hellish. But the war on public services and public workers, I mean, the Reagan era was nothing. This is the monstrosity. It's bad now, and some of us think that after the elections are over, after that crap is over, it's going to intensify. Of course, we can say, well, you know, money for jobs, not for war, and that's good for a placard. But we can't just have a rhetorical response to this problem of galvanizing the issue. It's got to be more substantive. What is it that we can do? How can we help? I think go back to who we are. We are a room full of radicals. I don't know what you call yourself, but I know that you're radical as hell. And that most of you have devoted your life to raising hell and causing trouble. And there was a time when you wanted to bring the whole system down. I remember when I was young, we thought the revolution would be in 5 years. We were a little premature, but some of us haven't given up hope. Bring that to it. Bring the radicalism, the militancy, let's not just march, let's occupy something to all fronts of the movement. That's what we can bring. Let me tell you, those radical militant ideas and feelings in your bones, the struggle needs that now more than anything. If there's anything that's happened to you in your life that has turned that off or deterred them, you know, wake them back up. Take some vitamins and wake them back up. It's not just a question of bashing labor leaders. We know how frustrated we are with them. It's too serious, sisters and brothers. This attack is bad. And trade unionists know that the very existence of the labor movement is in question. It's survival, because they're out to crush them. We've got to get back to those radical traditions of the 1930s, and we've got to get there as quick as possible. People say the Tea Party wants to drag us back, and sometimes it's a little worrisome to me. They sound more militant and a little more confident than we do. Maybe I'm wrong. We got to be the ones that say, no, we're not going back. We're going to drag you forward into the future. We will drag you forward into the future. This informs our feeling about Palestine. I understand, and we need to understand some of our trade union sisters and brothers, because they know that trying to get these union bodies to endorse things, it's so frustrating, and you know, they tear it apart. And I know that some of them feel, oh boy, we're going to have difficulty now. And it's important for us to know that, to empathize with them. But sisters and brothers, the world is changing. It's changing. Events have pushed Palestine to the front. Finally, everybody knows that it has as much to do with the getting the U.S. out of the Middle East as Afghanistan and Iraq and anything else. And so we can't go back. We have to move forward. It's a teaching moment. It's like when they came to King, and it was some labor leaders too, misguided, and said, don't touch Vietnam. That's not your issue. You won't get the funding. But he did it, and he suffered. Question is, was he right or was he wrong? You're damn right. You know, so we've got to We've got to rev ourselves up and push forward, sisters and brothers, and make sure that the anti-war movement is a militant, conscious, hell-raising, anti-racist movement. We have to make the racists afraid. We have to make them afraid of us. We know the war is a war against Muslims and Arabs. And I'm so glad we're having a protest tomorrow around that. We have to stand with our sisters and brothers. I commend the organizers for having so many Arabs and Muslims with us today. That's a sign of solidarity. Let's strengthen it. Lynn Stewart is the most recent victim of this war against Muslims and Arabs. And you know, when they go after white women 70 years old, they're going to come after all of us. I've got to leave you now, but I want to say a little bit about the immigrants. Don't let them march alone. If we let them march alone, then I don't know what we're doing. And we should be as mad about the murder of Oscar Grant as the murder of anybody else. If it doesn't look that way, something's wrong. Having said that, I hope we move forward and plan actions in the fall. I'm for something in New York in April. I don't know what we'll decide. But let's do it to test what we're talking about here, to see what kind of contribution we can make to galvanizing the anti-war movement with the workers' movement, with the women's movement, with the poor, with the anti-racist movement, and raise it to a higher level. And you know what? I have a feeling that we're the only people that can do it.
Thank you, Larry.